Hello, babes. It's so nice to see you here today. I wanted to come in because I was feeling inspired. And truth be told, I've been having this conversation with myself and my voice recorder for like a year now. And I thought it was time to really have this conversation because I feel like this is a part of the conversation that in the mainstream media is really missed. It's not what people are talking about. And I really do believe that we're in this era where the divine feminine is rising. She is rising. There's this surge of feminine energy and feminine wisdom and feminine knowing, feminine counsel that is being more and more invited into the mainstream. And something that I think is forgotten around this particular conversation is just how much the divine feminine is also rising in our men, in our masculine energy, our men out there. They are also going through this feminine rising, and that isn't talked about very much. And I think that that's a disservice to everybody because it's such an important part of this conversation, you know? Just as much as women are having this rising, we're being called into leadership, men are also being called into their leadership by becoming more connected and more attuned to their own emotions. And so the classic polarity conversation that I see being had all over the place, and I've been a part of that conversation as well. I'm definitely not perfect, pretty close, but I'm not perfect. Um, is around the feminine really desiring for men to be a safe space. Right? This conversation is all about safety. What another part of this conversation that is not being had is around men asking, is this woman a safe space for me also? Something for my dudes out there to consider. Is that woman a safe space? Ladies, are you actually a safe space for the masculine? Really, truly, think about that. Think about whether you still have these patterns of projection or blame, whether you still feel like it's your partner's job or responsibility to hold you, to make you feel safe, to create a container, and really tuning into the energy of like, have you created that container of safety within yourself to where you feel fully expressed with yourself? If there's any part of you, ladies out there, that struggle to really go into the dark, that struggle to go into the nitty gritty of your own emotions. And I'll use grief and I'll use rage as classic, tried and true examples. So many women out there are afraid to access these because they don't know what waits on the other side of the truth and the reality of their grief. And they don't know what waits on the other side of the truth and the reality of their anger. And yet, what I see time and time again in my clients and also in the couples work that we do for sex prayers is where the woman projects this idea of safety, this desire and this need of safety onto the masculine, yet doesn't truly feel safe within herself to have those experiences. And so it's like, how could we ever possibly do that? How could we expect somebody other than ourselves to hold emotions we don't even know are how we truly feel about them? We don't really know the depth to which they go. We don't even know our own emotional volatility within them. How could we ever expect somebody else to hold that space and container while, this is very important, while they are also learning what it is to have emotions, what those emotions feel like in their bodies? Because this might be a stretch. I don't know the statistics. I'm not, trying to act like I'm the expert per se. Um, and I would think that it's safe to say that a majority of men out there, and men, if you listen to this, please let me know in the comments your perspective. I would say that a majority of the men out there still do not fully feel safe in their emotional experience. Because when we think about the suppression of the masculine, oppression, repression of the masculine, emotions has been a big piece of that. We just, no, don't have time for that. Buck up, buttercup. We got to go. We got to do a mission. We can think about like military trainings, right? Military trainings are literally the process of becoming disembodied from anything other than stealth, perception, and protection. And so I'm wanting to bring this up because I feel like it's so important. Of course, the feminine desires protectorship and providership And of course, that can be financial, but that can also be emotional. And I think, ladies, that we really, 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 really need to remember that men are also going through this surge and this rising of their own feminine energy. And I know that we can think back to the time when we first started to awaken to the truth of our emotions. It was heavy. It was heavy on our soul. It was heavy on our hearts. It was hard to process. And that is exactly what men are going through in this particular era and this particular phase of rebuilding what everybody is calling the new earth, the new paradigm, the new way of being. So there's an ask of compassion, and there's an ask of grace, and there's an ask of taking a couple moments to reflect and like really tune into, yes, I want my guy, my dude, my boo to be a safe space. And one, am I actually a safe space for him and his part of the process? And two, do I feel capable enough within myself to know and understand the depths of my own emotional volatility, so that way when I ask him to protect me and I ask him to provide for me, I know what I'm actually asking for. I recognize this is like deep. This is very nuanced. And I also recognize that this might touch upon some sensitivities. And I'm okay with all of that. I'm totally okay with all of that. This is something that all parties, all genders, inclusive, exclusive, need to think about, because we're all growing into this. And to feel trapped and limited by the old way of doing things, old paradigm, old way, polarizing left and right, masculine, feminine, right? Um, it hurts. It hurts the people that we care about in our lives. It inevitably hurts ourselves because we don't recognize where we are sabotaging the love it is that we really truly desire. And this is part of what I'm teaching inside Who Is She. So season 3 is about to launch at the end of October. If you want more information about it, please let me know. It's for women specifically. It's a 9-week, I don't really like to call it a program because it's so much more than that. It is a straight up initiation into the full spectrum of your femininity. And so if there's any part of you ladies out there that feel disconnected from your shadow, from your anger, from your softness, from your sexuality, over these 9 weeks, we use archetypes to journey into those different energies, so that when you show up in relationship, whatever that relationship is too, it could be your partner, it could be your friendships, it could be in your family dynamics, anywhere that you relate to another being, you are showing up fully embodied in your confidence. You understand your emotions inside and out. You understand your shadows and your ego inside and out. So that way, when you show up and you say, hey, I love you, and my ask is that you hold me in all of this. And this is what that looks like. And I know because I've been there. And most of the time I can manage it myself, but in the off chance that I can't and I need external support, can you hold this? Because I feel like we're in a culture where there's a lot of expectation of what the masculine should hold for us as women. And in that expectation, I ask so many of my clients, I'm like, can you hold all of that? Because if you can't, it's kind of rude to even ask somebody else to do that for you. And so through this 9-week journey, we get to explore all of that, really deepen in your personal practice of all of that for your relationships, whether you're in a relationship yet or not. This is for your future relationship. This is for your relationship to yourself. This is for ancestral healing and so much more. So I'm going to press pause there because I feel like this is a lot to really think about and a lot to consider. And my invitation is that you reflect on it, that you chew on it a little bit, and you sit with some of the questions that I've asked. Feel free to leave a message in the comments on how it makes you feel or other questions that come up for you. Because, again, this is not a one-way conversation. And we're all coming from different backgrounds, different cultures, and it's important that that is included as well. So if you would like more information, ladies, for Who Is She Season 3, please let me know. I'm happy to share information. I can also put the link in the description below so you can check it out and see what we're doing there. And yeah, I would love to hear from you. So thank you so much for tuning in with me today for this little solo session. And yeah, I look forward to seeing you guys more soon. Have an amazing, amazing day.